Now in this lecture, we're going to talk about some initial configuration after Comet has been installed. And one of the things that you've noticed is I initially installed this in dark mode, but I don't know that dark mode is the best mode for this course. So one of the first things I'm going to do is to change this to normal mode. And I'm going to come over here and click on this drop down, and you'll see a whole slew of options here. Now this looks a lot like Chrome. It's modeled after Chrome, and I'm going to come down here to settings, and I am going to then choose appearance and then theme. So I don't know how well this appears for you. I don't think it's going to look that great. So I'm going to change this theme, and I'm going to choose light mode, and I'm going to say done. And now we should be able to see this better. Now, generally I like dark mode and I like working in dark mode, but I think for the rest of this course, I think it's going to be easier for you to see on your screen what I'm doing in Comet if I keep this in normal mode, not dark mode. And so now is probably a good time to go through some of these options. I think we'll come back to some of these options later. But we have, the first one up here is called You and Comet. And basically this allows us to, if I expand this, this will allow us to change again we can go to light mode, dark mode, and various colors. I don't want to bother with that. Let me go back to You and Comet. And then I can choose to import from another browser. So I've already imported from Chrome. I could also do the same thing with Edge. I have some things set in Edge. I'm not going to do that here. Or Firefox, and you can then select, based on what browser you've selected, whether you want to import your browsing history, bookmarks, extensions, and so on. All right, and then we have autofill and passwords, and this really serves two main purposes. One is autofill, and this feature will automatically complete web forms for you, such as your name and address, payment details, or other commonly requested online information. And the goal is to streamline your browsing experience by remembering frequently entered data so you don't need to type it every time. And then passwords, this section securely manages your saved login credentials. So it can store and protect and autofill your passwords for websites. You may be using that now in Chrome. I often use that because I get tired of entering my password every time. And so it makes logging into various online accounts faster and easier. And then Comet supports password autofill protection and may use even hardware-backed authentication with biometric like facial recognition or eyes for sensitive actions. So that kind of enhances both convenience and security in how your credentials are handled. Next we have privacy and security, and this is designed to give you control over how your personal information and browsing data are managed and protected and used. So the main purposes are managing privacy preferences. You control, in other words, for example, what browsing, what search, download, and interaction data the browser saves locally or syncs to your account. So as an example, you can adjust tracker and ad blocking settings. You can choose whether to allow AI features access to your browsing history, or determine what information Comet uses to personalize your experience. And then there's controlling data collection. Now this is in no particular order here, but there's a lot of stuff here. So it controls data collection. So Comet defaults to local only storage for most data, like browsing history, session logs, cookies, permissions, and profiles, so that your activity typically stays only on your device and doesn't get sent to the cloud. So it's not used for any sort of model training, which a lot of people are concerned about. Now, some features like navigation and suggestions and AI enhancement work with the context from your device, but you can opt out or use an incognito browsing mode to keep things local and private. Okay, then we have enhancing security. This tab, this section here, allows you to cover technical or covers technical protections such as device level encryption, crash and error handling, compliance with security standards, and so on. Then we've got customizing your ad blocker or ad tracker and blocking. You can enable block or built-in ad blocking and tracker controls for a less distracting and safer and maybe a faster browsing experience. Then you can choose what gets synced, just like you can in Chrome. If you decide to sign in or create a Comet profile, you can choose what, if anything, is synced across devices. Because more than likely, like I do, I've got Chrome installed on I don't know how many different devices, and I've got them synced across all my devices. You can do the same thing now with Comet. Okay, next we have Performance, and the Performance tab is really dedicated to optimizing your browsing experience with features that help the browser run efficiently and more responsively. So you've got the ability to managing resource usage. You can adjust how Comet uses memory. I don't know if you've ever noticed that Chrome, each tab in Chrome, it's its own operating system and can consume huge amounts of memory. So you can adjust how Comet uses memory and processors and network resources, which can be helpful if you're running many tabs or using intensive AI features. And then there's tab and session optimization, which allows you to automatically close inactive tabs. You can see here, for example, inactive tab appearance. You can summarize tab purposes. You can suggest which tabs to close for better focus and speed. You can group tabs, duplicate tab detection and smart tab management, all kinds of things with tab management. And then automated cleanup. So Comet can suggest closing distracting or redundant tabs. Now, keep in mind, none of this really has anything to do with AI. This is just smart browser management that a number of browsers don't currently implement. So automated cleanup, Comet can suggest closing, distracting, or redundant tabs, as I mentioned. And then background process control, you can enable or disable background refreshes of pages. It's got some hardware acceleration options, which lets Comet use your GPU or special CPU instructions to make web pages and video playback more responsive and run faster. And then monitoring browser statistics. So, it helps you spot and close tabs that are slowing things down and things like that. So basically, obviously, this is named Performance, and this really controls how well your browser, how well Comet is performing. Okay, then we have Appearance, and we've been here already. You can control what theme you want to use for your browser, whether you want to show the home button, whether you want to show the bookmarks bar, show tab groups and book. We'll get to a lot of this stuff later, but do we want to show tab groups? Do we always show full URLs instead of an abbreviated URL? Another options here, how we tab hover preview card. Font size, you obviously control the font size, customize fonts, and this will allow you to control page zooming. Then we have this notifications tab, and this actually can be kind of useful because what this will do is this will show optionally a badge when you execute an AI query in Perplexity or in Comet, which uses Perplexity, and then switch to another tab. Then you can have a badge displayed when that query is completed in an inactive tab. So in other words, a tab that is not active. Okay, so that can be kind of useful. And then website notifications. There's a whole slew of things here that you can use to control various website communication options. For example, you might go to a news group and you might want to get notified when that news group has something important, or maybe a weather site, weather or news, and something has occurred and you want to get notified. You can get notified. The inactive tab will notify you that something significant has happened on that tab.